What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be reacting to Celgin Studios video. The guy puts a phone booth in his yard, and it works. So let's get right into it.
Owning a vending machine is what I would consider a component of yard detritus. I mean, there's two things that are expected when you own one of these. One, you are now the one who has to pay to maintain and operate it. Two, you also have to pay to load it.
Yeah.
Three is entirely optional, and that is simply you don't have to necessarily put money into it. You can have it put into free vend mode. But there's other things I've wanted to get my hands on for a while, and it's usually a little bit more difficult to do. However, things happen to strange people at strange times. And of course, for me, my question was one day, could I get myself a payphone? Like, I am sure that one day the novelty of having a payphone in the yard is going to wear off. But for now, seriously, how cool is it in 2024?
That is super cool in my opinion. I think that's pretty super cool to have the payphone. If it's a working payphone and it works, that is awesome, super awesome, right?
Or, yes, you can get yourself a payphone for not too much money with relatively ease because, well, everyone's phasing them out now. And here's an example here that I've tried to get of a fine average specimen of your typical North American payphone and small unenclosed phone booth. So there's a little bit of history on this one here. Even though it is completely covered in GTE badging, I will happily state that no, I am living in Canada, so how the heck did I manage to get this payphone? There is a very kind lady who lives in Salton, Washington. You may have seen her advertisements on eBay, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. She's selling payphones and phone booths and payphone booth parts. It seems what happened is that at one point a number of years ago, Verizon/Frontier was looking to scrap a quantity of payphones and parts, and she stepped in and she cut a pretty slick deal on a bunch of, well, everything really, and she's been just kind of selling that piece by piece over the years. And as a result, she has amazing prices on phone booths and any parts you need. I think the payphones, like the standard ones you're seeing this here, I'm not a phone expert in this regard. I believe it's just called Cocot. This is $150 with the Verizon Bell vault door on it, and it's in good condition.
You guys, I got a little side note right here I just pulled up about Verizon Payphone. It says Verizon sold off most of its payphones in the 2011 to Pacific Telemanagement Services, PTS. The company once operated hundreds of thousands of payphones, but the decline of payphones phone use began when cell phones became more popular. Yeah, of course.
The phone booth itself was another $150, and this one here came with the base plate bracket, but it didn't come with the bezel around it. But you know what? I don't necessarily care.
$150.
It also came with a light, which I'm going to try and demonstrate near the end of this video. And of course, your next question probably is, does the phone work? Well, I'll try and explain here. You might be able to hear that. So I briefly had a dial tone and then it started beeping. So I'll explain that. But yes, it is functioning. So let's head back over here to the house. Up here against one wall of the molding, I have 2-pair station wire coming down and going into a little blue box, which I've installed right here, which has a surge suppressor in it. Because this is running outside the house and out to the edge of the yard, I think it's more of a feel-good measure than anything that if there's going to be a lightning strike or some sort of nastiness happens in the trees next to the payphone, I can try and at least stop it here as best I can before it runs into the house and causes all sorts of other levels of chaos. This is the other end of that line that goes into the house, by the way. There's a 66 block that terminates all of the phone lines here in the house to and from the PBX.
Yeah.
The loosened Alcatel box there is our fiber optic modem line, but it's also our POTS line. That's where the phone line goes out. If not, it's going through this box right here, which gives me 2 other phone lines. Anyways, that station wire disappears into the earth along with some of the low voltage lighting cable and runs back across the yard here.
Well, I can tell you in my instance, my situation, the way that looked, I might would have the payphone, but it wouldn't be working.
And then I've added myself buried away underneath this tree here. I don't even think you can see it anymore. Where the heck did that go? Ah, there it is. There's a junction box that's sealed, but this allows me to break the phone line into 2 halves for fault isolation. But one of those lines continues to run over here, and it's buried underground. And you can't even see it anymore. Then we have some of this conduit here, which it's hiding in, and it comes up underneath the booth and then terminates inside the phone. Now, the reason why you heard that beeping is not because it's on the PBX. It is on the PBX. So any person in the house can call this phone. And this phone, in theory, can call anyone in the house or to any of the outside lines through the PBX. Mentioning the PBX, so from any phone here in the house, I just have to dial 205 and it should start ringing the phone outside.
That's neat. That is cool.
But I'm having difficulty with this because I know with, like, I have an earlier 3-coin slot phone that's actually from Quebec. And that's just old enough that it requires an external coin controller on it that is difficult to find new old stock or even used. And the reproductions of those are really expensive. So instead I was going for this style here because I know BC Tel sold these fairly often. And as it turns out here, Frontier has converted this one. I don't have a key in this right now, but that's because there's no money in the vault. There's just like 4 American quarters here, which I'll get to in a moment. And if I just take you off, let that pop off.
Oh, Lord.
This is what is called a Protel payphone. This has been upgraded to an electronic system. I think the more common payphones that the younger folks now are used to see were Nortel Millenniums. They had it was like a blue and yellow and a vacuum fluorescent display. This is kind of an in-between device. This doesn't require any fancy hardware inside of the house to make the payphone work, but at the same time it's not so stupid that it requires an external box just to do its basic functions.
That is crazy. I've never seen the inside of a payphone before. I don't know if you guys have, but yeah, that's really crazy. Movie mode, baby. My, okay, whatever. Yeah, that's crazy.
Protel is also intelligent. It knows better than do the Grand Theft Auto thing where you just ring a phone until someone picks up, and as a result, it's a free phone call. So if I call this out and someone picks up the phone, it'll give you about 30 seconds and then it'll hang up the phone on you. And like it's specifically doing it to prevent you from calling back to the payphone and using it as a contact point. So the idea here is that you can either program the Protel unit through the earpiece and the dial pad. There we go. And you can configure it that way, or you can remotely dial into this with, I think, like a particular modem and some software, and you can program it while you're inside the house, which is fine because with a PBX will let me then switch from any line in the house. I could be leisurely inside working on this. And there's 2 batteries in here. One of these stores our settings. This is normally a 3.6. Normally it is a 3.6 volt lithium battery. It's those stupid Varta / Maxell red batteries that we see in the Max. So I've taken that out and replaced it with a 3 volt BR23A. I love these things a lot, and this one is particularly fresh. And then you have this little battery right here, which is a rechargeable. So the way this works is that that's just for memory retention. This one here operates the phone and also operates the coin solenoid and operates...
I don't know about y'all, man, but this is the guy. and got a little strange and got kind of out of my rim of knowledge going on here.
Basically everything else except the optional ringer, which is hardwired directly across the ring and tip lines of the phone line. And that is, when this is at idle, it's 48 volts DC. And it uses that 48 volts DC, I think it's, in this case here, it's more like 32 volts because there's line loss across the yard, to charge that battery. So when the phone is in use, it's discharging this battery, and then when you hang up the phone, it goes back to charging this battery again. You can control that all again from either the keypad or from the modem when you've hung up the system. For money, it takes quarters. American quarters. It's been very fussy with Canadian quarters. But my main issue has been these ProTel units, while there is supposedly a quantity of documentation available for these, and what was this one? It's like K9000 or PK9000. I have to double check again. I have some of it inside. What I've found is that it is it's difficult to understand, and I've been struggling with it. In fact, I got kind of frustrated, and I just kind of forgot about this for the rest of the year. Now, part of that frustration is because
it all seems a little bit difficult in my brain.
I had made a longer video showing the installation of the wiring and installing the foundation and footing for this and getting everything wired up and then converting this here. Originally, it's a Circline fluorescent light, but I'm not running 120 volts out to a payphone. So instead, the yard lighting, which is like 12, 13 volts AC, runs up into here, runs through a bridge rectifier, and then it's just a little box that I've made out of LEDs that straps in underneath. And that allows me to get the full look and feel. So I'll figure out how to program it, but for right now, like if I dial a number, it'll tell me to insert $1. So I'll give it $1 in American. And it's programmed right now.
Like some American money.
The PBX is not automatically connecting this to an outside line, because if I want to dial an extension, I can do so. But this here, because it's so intelligent,
oh, Canada,
doesn't like 3-digit phone numbers. At least in its default state. Like you do 911 or whatever, something like that. I'm sure it would work, but the PBX isn't currently set to forward that on this particular line. I have a number of things disabled so it doesn't ring at like the middle of the night. So unless you put in a 10-digit phone number and put in $1, all it does is it just accepts the call and dials out, and then the PBX immediately rejects it because he didn't do 9 before going to get to an outside line, which sucks. Okay, sure. There we go. So, right. Installation of the phone booth. This thing here actually splits off into 2 pieces. It bolts in half right here.
Yeah.
This is, we're just going to say it's unified with this, but once you take the payphone out, it's actually a open box that goes all the way to the back here and mounts in. So this adapter plate here came with the unit, and what I've done is I dug a hole, and this, by the way, probably weighs about in total about 100 pounds.
Wow, okay.
And I just took some straight threaded rod and I did a down about 8 inches, a bend across, and then 8 inches back up to that side there. And did the same thing over there. And then I just kind of used 2 pieces of wood to hang the bracket over the hole, put some backfill in underneath, you know, like rock sticks, some debris, stuff that's just kind of concrete weight. And then I just poured cement in there and let that cure. And now what that lets me do is that weighs about 150 pounds. So I can actually be pretty aggressive pushing on this thing. It's not going to...
He just made a form on top and poured the concrete. Like, I did some work with my granddaddy one time, and he built big buildings, and you would build those things and pour the concrete and had the bolts in it so you could put big columns and stuff down.
Fall over. Unless, like, you come out here and tackle the damn thing. But the plate also allows me to tweak not only the alignment a little bit, it also lets me level the booth itself. So this is actually perfectly straight up and down. And I do also have the bits to open all this. All that's in here right now is just a terminal block that converts the telephone line coming in to the line that then breaks in half that goes up into the payphone because that was just a pain to string, and another spot down here which also then runs a line up to the top for the lighting. And so the other difficult thing when trying to find a payphone, and this is one of the reasons it took so long, is that there's two types of payphones you can find used. The first ones are immaculate. Like, they're beautiful. They're excellent condition. They're clean. They're fully restored. They're faithful.
Money.
You don't want to put these things outside. Like, you put it out here, like, it's where it's designed, but it's going to weather. It's going to age. If someone did this specifically to, like, put it inside of a house, it's going to fade, possibly even. And they're going to want obscene amounts of money for it. On the other hand, you might find someone who's, like, scrapping out a bunch of payphones, and they want, like,
scrap money.
Not too much money, maybe $200, but like all of this is like painted over and you have like stickers slapped over this and it's in terrible condition. I don't want one of those either. I'm not looking to restore one to put it outside. I just wanted a booth that had seen its life and was ready to go back outside for the rest of its life, and that's what I got right here. So that fantastic lady in Salton, Washington, I forget her name, she has these. They're cheap payphones, cheap phone booths. She has some Millenniums. I'm sure if you just look them up on eBay or Craigslist or whatever, you'll find stuff. She's in the Pacific Northwest. Absolutely fantastic, I want to say. Actually, since it's still kind of light out, what we're going to do here is I'm just going to go back over to our panel. These are the low voltage lighting controls. These things go all the way back to the early 90s. But I'm going to manually turn that on. And then as we walk back over here, ta-da! Look at that.
Those lights going.
Not too bright, not too dim. At night, like it's a good view. And it really looks the part. You can...
Yeah, you got somebody going down the road at the middle of the night or walking down a sidewalk or something or other, and they see the light shining. They're like, what's that over there? And they look at it. Oh, it's a payphone, man. Let's go use the payphone. Oh, man. There's already some quarters in here, man. Oh.
Almost tell. You have to go right underneath here before you realize that's LED. But it has like the same color temperature as a fluorescent light. So the panels here all light up. There is a little bit of graffiti here, by the way, but you know what? That's just the perfect amount because you can't even see it when you're far away. These light up. The trimming right along here all lights up, and this all lights up. It looks absolutely fantastic from anywhere you can see this. So I really hate to be one to brag, but the idea behind this video is I wanted to show that if you wanted to get yourself a payphone, one of these small ones here, which are a little over 5 feet tall, are perfect additions to one's yard. They're not that difficult to wire in. The lighting is fairly straightforward to wire in. And there's a person that you can get them from, at least in 2024 still, and they look fairly good once you clean them up. So I hope this video is informative to you, and if you've been trying to be on the fence here about getting a payphone yourself, I hope this is something to tell you what I had to go through to get this installed.
Okay. I'd have a payphone, guys. I'd have a payphone. I'd like to have the light working in it, but I don't want the phone to work. I'd have to figure out a way to have like a recording, some kind of recording of something other. Whenever you pick it up, it has a recording, whatever. It would be put somewhere where people could see it and think that it was available for use. That's what I would do with it. Get pranked.
And if you have any comments on how to deal with that blasted ProTel programming, leave a message down in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Yes, I've tried the classic rotary phones for them. No, it didn't work out. But anyways, until next time, have a good one.
Alright guys, but that's the video. Look at it. Look at me looking like a hair all coming out looking like I'm dead gum. Wild, crazy person. Alright guys, that's going to be our video. I hope you found that interesting enough. I did. I was kind of curious, was wondering what was going on with the payphone, wondered if it really worked or whatever. But yeah, my idea would be, I think it'd be cool to have the light working and set up somewhere where it looks like it's a payphone that's works and maybe has a camera on it and like a voice recording or something other. So when you pick it up, it's like says something, then they talk and they think they're talking to somebody, maybe, and it says something back. I don't know, something cool like that. And you have a video camera set up where you see what these people are doing. I think that'd be kind of funny. You guys, let me know what you thought about the video. Drop us a comment. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.